3, 4, 6, 8. Aren't they the same?
Hello everyone. It is February 22nd, 2022. It's Tuesday. It's Harp Tuesday. Welcome to this week's episode. So today I'm going to try to decipher the puzzle of 3, 4, and 6, 8 because, of course, if you look at that, they both contain the same number of notes per bar, 6/8 notes. And so what's going on here? Why is that? Well, the short answer is that in a bar of 3, 4, it means that if we have a string of eighth notes, they're divided into groups of 2. So we hear 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... Whereas those same eighth notes, 6/8 notes, in a bar of 6/8 are grouped into 2 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so the pulse in 3, 4 we feel 3 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and in 6, 8 we feel 2 pulses. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's sort of what's going on. But let's delve into that a little deeper. So, of course, this is the 6, 8 and 3, 4. Those are time signatures, which are generally happen at the beginning of the piece and sometimes during a piece. And let us know how many beats there will be in each bar or measure. How many notes. They're typically written with a number above and another number beneath it. So 3, 4, or 6, 8. But sometimes you might see a C or a C with a line through it. So common time or cut time. A little bit confusing, but those are just, the common time is another way of writing 4, 4, and the cut time is a way of writing 2, 2. But for now, let's assume that we have a number and another number beneath it. So that lower number, so the 4 in 3, 4, for example, or the 8 in 6, 8, is the type of note that we're measuring. So a 4 is a quarter note, an 8 is an eighth note. If it was a 16th, it would be a 16th note. If it was a 2, it would be a half note. If it was a 1, it would be a whole note. And the higher number is how many of them there are in each bar. So 3, 4, there are 3 quarter notes per bar. 6, 8, there are 6/8 notes per bar. But it doesn't mean that we are actually playing, say, 3 quarters. We might be playing a dotted half note, which takes up the length of 3 quarters. We might be playing 6/8 notes. Or any combination, a bunch of 16th notes, whatever we makes up a combination that equals 3 quarters or 6/8. And so as I say, you can see that 3 quarters and 6/8, they're talking about the same amount. So why would we use one or the other? Why is this? And it has to do with convention. So with, say, 2, 4 or 3, 4 or 4, 4, some of the most common time signatures, that bottom number, the quarter note, is the pulse, the beat. And you might think of this is something you might tap your toe along to. So 2, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We're feeling those 2 pulses per bar. 3, 4 is a waltz, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We might, if it's a fairly fast waltz, we might feel that just as 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But, of course, if you're dancing this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you would be feeling 1, 2, 3, all of those pulses. 4, 4, we feel all 4 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But when it comes to 3, 8, or 6, 8, or 9, 8, or 12, 8, these 8 on the bottom and some multiple of 3 on the top, these are what are known as compound meters. And so this is not, I'm not talking about 5, 8, or 7, 8, for example, but these multiples of 3, where the 8th note is no longer the pulse. We don't feel every 8th note in general. I mean, we could, but in general, the pulse is actually every group of 3 8th notes. So that's why 6, 8, we're feeling 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2. 3, 8 would be feeling 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, kind of 1. 9, 8 would be feeling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 12, 8 would be feeling that in 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. And again, why do we do that? I'll get to that in a moment. But so that's just, in a sense, a convention that is worth knowing. Generally, the music will kind of show you that as well, with the beaming and how the left hand maybe is written. So if we put in finale, which will take care of the beaming for us automatically, if we put a string of 6/8 notes in a bar of 3/4, finale, or whatever muse score, whatever composition or notation software you're using, should group those eighth notes as a group of two, another group of two, another group of two, 1 and 2 and 3 and. Whereas if we put those same eighth notes in a bar of 6/8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it will group them as a group of 3 and another group of 3, showing us these two pulses. And music that is in 6/8, left hand might generally be playing dotted quarters, so it's playing on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 beats per bar. And of course in 3/4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the left hand might often be playing on the quarters, the 1, 2, 3, those pulses. And I think it's easy to see that 3/8 is its own separate thing, because we can't write that very handily in quarters. That's 1.5 quarters is 3/8, or 9/8, right, which is 4.5 quarters, or 12/8 is 6 quarters, which is a time signature, but it's not a common one, so it's not necessarily so clear why this 3/4 versus 6/8, where both, 3/4 is a common time signature and it has the same number of beats as 6/8, same number of quarter notes, right? Same number of eighth notes. But I think the way to think about it is that, in fact, 6/8 is 2/4, but without having to write triplets over all the eighth notes. So again, the bigger the pulse, because in 3/8 and 6/8 and 9/8 and 12/8, we're feeling a pulse every 3 eighth notes, every dotted quarter. So 3/8 is really kind of like 1/4 with these eighth notes as triplets. So we could write it in 1/4, right? We could write it in 1/4. Or let's take 6/8 against 3/4, which is what we're talking about. If we had a piece that was in 6/8 and we wanted to write it with quarter notes on the bottom, instead of writing in 3/4, we would write it in 2/4 and write a triplet over all the eighth notes, so that this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or triplet, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that is our equivalent. That 2/4 and 6/8 are actually the paired thing, same as 3/4 and 9/8 are the pairing, where we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We get 3 pulses per bar, same as a 3/4. And the compound meter, the 6/8 or 9/8 or whatever, is letting us not have to write triplets over all the eighth notes, and instead have that be baked into the time signature. So I hope that made sense. I hope that was useful. Big shout out to all my patrons who help make continued production of Harp Tuesday possible. And I will see you in 2 weeks for another episode. Cheers.